Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. This is going to be my retrospective look at the top 10 most expensive Silver Age comics of all time. And I did a video earlier in this year, in January, where I looked at the top 10 most expensive Silver Age comics. And I really looked at what were the top ones. And it's been a really crazy year, a bit of a roller coaster year. And there's been a lot of movement in these books. So I kind of want to see how did they perform, what is now the number one on the list. I wanted to see how the list kind of shook up over the year. So with that being said, let's get into the numbers. I'm going to look at the top 10 Silver Age comics of all time. So first, I have an honorable mention. There was only one DC book actually that made the top 10 list. And I felt kind of guilty that there wasn't more Silver Age DC books that made the top 10 list. So I figured I'll give an honorable mention to Brave and the Bold, number 28, which was number 11 on the list. It didn't quite make the list. It's number 11. It's still a great book. It is the first appearance of the Justice League. And it's also the first appearance of Starro. So this book, when I originally did the video, it had a fair market value of around 100,000 or so. It had a record sale of 120,000. And it's really gone up since then. And this is why I kind of wanted to have it as an honorable mention on this list. It's also the first cover appearance of Aquaman, which is kind of a cool thing about it. And now the fair market value, if you look at it, it showed, like, we're going to use fair market values for determining what is what on this top 10 list. It has a fair market value of 330,000. So it's really a great comic in terms of its value that has gone up. There's 1,100 actually on the census in universal grade. I actually have a 1/8 of this in my own collection, so it's one that I really love as well. Actually, I have all the comics that are on this list, so it should be interesting for me as well. So my 1/8 is worth 1,800. I actually bought my 1/8 at the beginning of the year for just under 1,000. It was like 900, I believe. So it's doubled since I bought it. So really, this is number 11 on the list. It is honorable mention. It's just a cool book. I figured I wanted to show it. So let's get into the actual top 10 list. And we got Avengers number 4 is on the list. And this was number 10 before, and it's still number 10 on the list. This is the first Silver Age appearance of Captain America. And it's also the first Silver Age appearance of Bucky. So just a really great comic because it's kind of like the new version of Captain America and sort of reviving his whole thing. They put when I did my original video, I had the record sale of being $143,000. Now they put the fair market value at $340,000. So there was a sale in 2017, but the market has really, really jumped up since then. And now they're predicting that a fair market value, if one came up for auction right now, would be $340,000. I have another low grade comic of this. I don't have that high grade one, but definitely it's a very cool book. There's 3,000 and almost 600 of these on the census. So it's a very common book, and that's why it's maybe number 10 on our list. So, and there's 9/8 on this one. So this is number 10 on our list, and it hasn't changed since the beginning of the year. Number 9 on our list is Avengers number 1. Now, this is just the first appearance of the Avengers as a team. It's got Thor, Hulk, Iron Man, Ant-Man, the Wasp. It's got all the major characters, and it's kind of a major book. We saw the Infinity Gauntlet, saga. That was huge. A lot of people love this book. And when I originally did my video, there was a record sale of 274,000 for this book. Now the fair market value has gone up considerably since then. It's almost doubled. We got a 9.6 fair market value of $500,000 for this book. So it's number 9 on our list. Before it's actually slipped, it was actually number 4 on the list. So it's kind of gone down in terms of, it was number 5 on the list. And it kind of has slid a bit, maybe because if you look at the trend, it is a little bit down in terms of how well this book has performed year to year. But still, they predict that the fair market value, if one came up for auction today, would be around $500,000. So still a strong book, just not as strong as some of the others on this list. So the next one on the list is Incredible Hulk number 1. And this is the first appearance of the Hulk. He is gray in this. And it's also the first appearance of Betty Ross and Rick Jones and Gender Thunderbolt Ross. So just a bunch of key characters from the Hulk series. And it's kind of a major book. It's interesting that he's gray in this, but definitely a great book. Now there's 1,300 of these on the census, so it's a bit more rare than some of the others that we mentioned. When I did my original video about this book, it was ranked number 3 on the list, so it's also slipped down on the list. I had a record sale previously of $375,000. So its new fair market value is around $375,000. So it's gone up a fair amount, about 40%. And it is one of those books that has gone up. It just hasn't gone up as much as some of the others on this list. But still a great book. It's an incredible book. And it's a 9.2. The most recent sale for it was back in 2018. And, it's probably, as I said, one of those books that if it comes up for auction right now, it'd sell for around $575,000. There's 1,300, as I said, on the census, so a really rare book. And it's one of those ones we just have to wait for the next big sale for it. Okay, so that's number 8 on our list. And previously was ranked number 3. Now let's get into the number 7 on our list. And it was also number 7 at the very beginning of the year. And that is Journey into Mystery number 83. And this is the first appearance of Thor. It's also the first appearance of Donald Blake, first appearance of the Croats, and Millimir, his hammer. And it was one of those books that's got this iconic cover, and it's got only 1,600 of these on the census. And when I did my original video, it had a value, like there was a record sale in 2020 for 210,000. But things have changed, times have changed. This book has really heated up, and it has a fair market value of 9.4, so 625,000. Now, if we look at the sales, there hasn't been a sale since 2019. And if you know anything about the recent market, and it has gone up incredibly, just like things are double, tripling, or quadrupling. So probably that fair market value is pretty accurate. So 625,000. So this book has more than tripled in value since its previous record high. So that is number 7 on our list, and it was 7 before as well. Number 6 on our list is Amazing Spider-Man number 1. And this is the first appearance of Jonah Jameson. It's not the first appearance of Spider-Man, but it is the first titled series for Spider-Man. And it is one of those books that is sort of iconic for Spider-Man collectors. It has 3,000 copies on the census. When I did my original video, it was number 6 on the list, so it hasn't moved. It hasn't shifted in position. And I had found a record sale of 262,900. And now they're saying that the fair market value for 9.6 is around 750,000. So it has gone up at least almost 3 times, like 300% increase. So just a massive gain in value for this book. There is 198 on the census, but it has not been seen or come up for auction. So can you imagine that book, if it ever sold, it would be in the $1 million range, probably $1.5 million range. So, so this book could be much higher on the list if that elusive 9.8 ever came up for auction. So we got a 9.6 value of 750,000, and that makes it number 6 on our list. Number 5 on our list is another great book. It is Fantastic Four number 1. And this book was actually rated higher before. It was previously in the position number 4. And this book has so much going for it. It is the first appearance of the Fantastic Four. It's the first comic published under the Marvel name, so it's kind of iconic that way. Also, it's the first appearance of Mole Man, and it's the origin of the Fantastic Four. And there's 1,758 of these in the universal grade on the census. And when I did my original video, there was a record sale of $300,000 for this book. Now, they're suggesting that the fair market value for this book is around $1.3 million for a 9.2. So that's pretty crazy. It's over 4 times up in value. So almost 420% increase in value. So just insane numbers for this book. And there's a lot of speculation around this book because there is talk of the next Fantastic Four movie. So definitely a hot book. Again, there hasn't been any recent sales for those high grades, so we really don't know until one of them comes up for auction. Now, this book has also higher grades that are on the census. There's 5 books that are higher grade. There's 3 9.4s and 2 9.6s. So you can imagine those books would totally dwarf that valuation of $1.3 million. These would actually be in, the millions, multi-million dollar sales if a 9.6, for example, came up for auction. So just a really big book. The fair market value, as I said, $1.3 million based on Go Collect's numbers. So that is number 5 on our list. Number 4 on our list is Showcase number 4. So Showcase number 4 was previously 8 on the list. It has really moved up. The popularity of Flash has really gone up. There's a lot of spec around this book, actually, because what happened is there is the Flash series that has been going on for many years and very popular series, but there's also Flash movie, solo movie that is in the works. So a lot of spec around that. So this book was previously number 8 on the list. It is now number 4 on our list. And it's just a really great book because it's the first appearance of the Silver Age Flash, Barry Allen, and Barry Allen's first appearance. So really a new version of Flash, just very different from the Golden Age Flash. And we have the market valuation, fair market value, is around $1.45 million for this book in a 9.6. Now there was a sale in the past, way back in 2009 at almost 180,000, but it has really gone up since then. When I put it on my list originally, there was a record sale of 1.79 thousand. So this was the record sale that I had seen before. But as I said, it has really, really gone up since then. It is one of those hot books that's on this list. I'm so glad that I secured my 2.0 copy. I have a universal 2.0 copy of this, so I was quite happy about that. And it has gone up. This is my sale, my sale right here. So it's really gone up since my sale. So they figure it's now worth around 12,000. So I'm kind of happy about that part. So just a little aside. So this one is number 4 on our list. What is number 3? Number 3 is Tales of Suspense number 39. Now I actually expected this book to drop on the list because Iron Man is dead, but it is a book that just will not die. It's just like most characters in comics. This is the first appearance of Iron Man. It is just another one of those iconic covers. Not necessarily one of the best covers, but it is kind of a cool cover, I think, in some ways, like with, him, donning the costume. But this book, when I originally looked at it, it was previously number 6 on the list. It was much lower on the list. And there was a record sale back in 2013 for this book at a 9.6, and it sold for 262,900, and it has really skyrocketed since that time. Now they're evaluating the fair market value at $1.5 million. So this book has really gone up in terms of value, like more than 5 times. So 500% increase in value. So just a really big, big shift considering the character has been killed in the movies. I think that we will see more of Iron Man in the future because this is such a popular book. So that's number 3 on our list. Number 2 on our list is another big book. It's X-Men number 1. This is the first appearance of Cyclops, Beast, Angel, Marvel Girl, or Jean Grey, Iceman, and the first appearance of Magneto and Professor X. It's the first team appearance as well, and their first solo title. So just so much in one book. And it's really, in my opinion, with Fantastic Four number 1 and this book, these are both iconic Stan Lee books. So yes, this is just one of those books that has really gone up. It was in number 2 position when I did my list in January. It is still in the number 2 position. But back in January, I had found a record sale that was from July of 2012. So like 9 years ago. And it was for just under $500,000 at $492,938. And now that 9.2 or 9.8 sale, that 9.8 they would predict would be $1.8 million. That is just crazy. So it just has really gone up in value. As I said, there just hasn't been any recent sales with this book. So if that 9.8 comes back up for auction, we're probably looking at it going up 3 times or almost 3.5 times in value. Just crazy increase in value. X-Men has been really on a tear this whole year. Pretty much all the titles within X-Men have really gone up in value. So this is kind of a really cool book. And it's just still in the number 2 spot. Now the number 1 spot is probably one of those ones that everybody knows. It's nothing really major in terms of something surprising or anything like that. It is Amazing Fantasy number 15. This had the record sale of all comics in history just recently, selling for $3.62 million. Now, when I had done my original video, it had a record sale of $1.1 million. So this just shattered all previous records. Just 3 times, almost 3.5 times the value. So just really has gone up. Now they're predicting, even though there was that record sale of 3.6 million, they're actually predicting that the fair market value would be even higher now. So it's $3.8 million in a 9.6. And there's actually 4 of them on the census. So, this is just one of those really major books. I actually have a 3.0 of this, and in the time that I bought my 3.0, it's gone up 3 times. So just crazy increase in value. This is just a major, major book. And it's we know why it's on the list. It is the first appearance of Spider-Man. It is just one of those iconic covers. This is one of those ones that they cover swipe all the time. And it deserves to be the #1 Silver Age comic with only 2,300 of these on the census. It is one that collectors have always sought, and it's one that collectors will always seek. It's just the iconic Silver Age comic. So this has been my top 10 with bonus list of comics that are the most expensive Silver Age comics. I would love to hear your feedback. How many of these books do you have from the list? Put your comments below. And thanks again for watching. Check out my other comic videos related to this series where I'm looking at the different top 10s. And thanks again for watching. Bye.